a lot of the children up and go as soon as they're of that age to take up their own lives because there isn't.
No jobs?
There's no jobs here, basically. The work is the key point I wanted to bring up.
There's no entertainment. I mean, is there the park, the lights, you know, the sun goes down, you can't play the park anymore, right?
Okay.
The other thing we've got to look into is which way you want to Niland to grow. So when we build something, it's going to actually sit in the middle after it grows. Put it somewhere, you know, and put it out here. If something's going that way, we're going to lose that area, which is we actually really want it.
Well, that's basically up to county planning. One of the other things that a person brought up to me was low-income housing. Now, you've noticed that probably, we got 6, 8 houses that went up in the past couple of years, which is basically a boom as far as we're concerned. But one of the things, if you notice about each one of those houses sold. Okay? Now, if we can get low income, if we can get subsidized housing, if we can get them to come in, finance a house, sell that house and build another one. Because what happens is when someone is down here and say they get a job around here someplace, but they got no decent housing. They don't have a nice house to move in to. They can afford it, but there's nothing here. If you look around, there's nothing here to buy. There's not a good house in town to buy. Okay? But here's the whole thing. If we can get them to subsidize a house, build a house here. When we sell that house, build another house. This is going to grow. This will provide people a decent place to live, first of all. Okay? Because there are people around here with a job that go to Brawley because there isn't a good house here to live in. You know, they may be able to afford a house, but it's not down here.
There's another...
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
We've seen that. We saw it in Califat when the prison came in. They built all those new homes for the prison guards. We got to realize that the people are coming out of big towns. They're coming out of Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino County. There's no conveniences for their families. That's why El Centro had that big growth. Because if you want to teach kids how to have hamburgers, you got to go to Brawley. You want to take them to the movie, you got to go to El Centro. The conveniences aren't here for the growth. Let's face it, you got to drive 45 minutes to go to El Centro, you go have dinner with your family, you got to drive 45 minutes back. The kids want to go to the show, you got to drive all the way to El Centro to the mall. The conveniences is the biggest problem that the COs had because there's no conveniences for the families. Sure, they'd like to have a nice house at low cost, but they're not going to because their families will not allow them.
Well,
Because Califat, the CEOs operate 24 hours a day, and that's, places here in Califat, and even Raleigh closed down at 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
so there's no convenience for the
that's probably
so
true.
they're not going to move here.
That's probably true, but you have to look at growth. You have to have growth before you have those convenience things. You cannot say, okay, we're going to build a Walmart here, and people are going to move here. That's not going to happen. Walmart will not come into the community unless the community is there prior to them coming into the community.
But that's what I'm saying. Realistically, we're trying to build a community.
We have to start off at the small steps.
For our kids. For
But
our kids that grow up now.
What we need to do is get people to move here. We need them to start, living in this town, and we have to build things for their convenience, for their pleasure, for their plaything. Okay, that's where we need parks and things like this.
Hold on. No, that's what I was going to say. We need to take this in small steps. Once we have a community that people are willing to build in, then we can have the convenience.
The convenience. It's a slow process. I'll be dead before it happens. But it's something to start off on. That's a vision that we have to have in the future. We're going to have 4 or 5 more geothermals. We're going to have a lot more sun development down here. Those things are going to bring in jobs. They're going to bring in money. What we can do when these corporations move in, We can say, we want to be partners with you. Help us out. We want our community to grow, to be healthy. Okay.
Can I finish my thought?
Oh, sorry.
One of the things that came up at sanitary meeting that we had just recently is the look of our community. That, you know, we have a lot of lots that have a lot of junk on them and, you know, need to be cleaned up, including my own property. But,
Take that building down.
but maybe that's one of the things that should be on the list is cleanup, so that the community looks better, so that when people come here to look to build, it'll be attractive to them.
Well, that's one of the things that we can ask for. You know, I mean, we have the prisons. They have people that can be hired out of them. So that's one of the things that we can look at. I mean, you people speak up with any ideas that you have, because those things are important. You know, any little idea that you have may grow into something a whole lot bigger.
What about the city? How do they? I don't know too much how you guys promote, but how do you promote the city? Is there like
This isn't a city. This isn't a city. It's a town.
okay? How's the town promoted? Like how do people know? Do people know across like the Chamber of Commerce? Is there like flyers where it gives a little bit of information about what kind of lands they have? What information? Anything like that? Or
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we usually call people, and we usually post a flyer.
okay.
That's what we do.
What about the flag?
You are working on our pamphlet, and what else?
Oh, we're working on a community pamphlet so that when new people come, like guests, visitors, or passing through, that we can hand them something. And we've been working on that for a long time now.
Okay.
And we found out that some of the people have passed
Okay.
recently, and some people are closing.
Okay.
We're trying to sell their business.
Yeah.
What about like getting across to like, for example, the outskirts, for the land? There's people who are investors, industry or industrial. It could promote growth of, it could stimulate people to spend, and then it'll grow like houses, and then there's more commercials. I mean, I don't know how, like come up with some kind of package, an idea to do something like that, because this is a town, there's a lot of land, like you said earlier, there's a lot of land here.
There basically was a plan to build 284 houses right out here.
Okay.
Okay, right next door to us. Housing kind of took a little dip.
Yeah.
So, everything like that is stopped. But basically, we had the plan was into the planning department for 284 houses out here.
Okay.
Right next to us. So there are people that want to come in and build. Right now, we're a little bit of a problem. We're in the economic slowdown. Period.
Okay.
And
There's
basically, we have a tomato festival every year.
Okay.
And we're trying to reach out at this point to involve the whole valley in this and to reach out to these people. Now, the solar companies, I'll guarantee you, the solar companies know about this area.
Okay.
This area has been studied. If you go down the thing, they have all the
Maybe-
geothermal spots.
Maybe what they already have in their studies, you could probably tell them, hey, you know what, could you give us a little bit of what you have so we could promote the city and help out other commercial businesses that are interested, and that could probably work too.
That's the difference between the city and our town site.
Yeah.
We're unincorporated. We're not really established.
It's
as far as-
kinda hard.
We don't have a city hall. We don't have a place that people can go post things.
Mhm.
The
Since
Chamber of
1913.
Commerce would like to bring in more people and be more user-friendly so that we can have community events and get more people involved. It's a starting point.
You know what? It would be a good idea. I mean, you know how there's the joint Chamber of Commerce? Maybe come up with, how when you guys get together, the Chamber of Commerce, every town and city takes turn to host a city event. Maybe you could propose that.
That's a good idea.
Or one season it would be like Calexico. Another time will be El Centro. And the way it will be promoted will be like, hey, so you could get to know the city in the Imperial Valley. There's the cities across. It'll be Calipatria, Brawley, and everybody takes turn fairly and host like some kind of wine tasting, or I don't know if you guys like wine or margarita or whatever, or host the tomatoes, the clamato.
Well, you're talking about the solar power company. If I'm the solar power company, I do what? I provide a product. That product is electricity. So how am I going to get rid of my product? I'm going to want to be near a power grid. So the way to tell Niland is, where is the power grid